I'm very happy to be sitting here today with Angus MacGregor, Head of Global HR for MUFG, to talk about sustainability and HR and why we're even putting those two things together in the same sentence. So, Angus, this whole event that we're doing was sparked off by a conversation we had last year at a conference, an HR conference, where I was talking about sustainability in HR and you were a bit surprised to see sustainability at an HR conference. Do you want to take it from there? What was surprising or interesting? And
yeah, definitely. Well, thanks for having us here. I'm sorry I can't be there today. It was really a link I was making in my head between a recent hire we'd made within the last year of a Chief Sustainability Officer at MUFG.
Mm-hmm.
It's the first one,
okay.
Zenya San.
Yeah.
It was a significant hire for us, part of the strategy of our CEO at MUFG, Kamazawa-san. He very much leads with digitalization and or ESG, sustainability. So this was a key strategic hire for him.
Yeah.
So I'd spent a bit of time with Zenya San trying to integrate her in the firm generally. But while I was doing that, I was talking to her about obviously the topic and what she was going to do and some of the initiatives. And in my mind, I'd started to think about the connections with our people agenda. And that's about as much as I'd got to. And then I met you and you sort of brought us to the next stage. So it was brilliant.
Right. Oh, fantastic. Well, happy to be of service. So I think, for us, we have a lot of conversations with companies about sustainability, obviously. It's the work we do at Enteleco. And very often the focus is on strategy, on processes, on sort of very much the physical side of sustainability. And the people side, integrating it into the organisation, is often kind of left to chance. It's a little bit organic. And so that's something that we want to help companies change, to connect the dots, right, between what they're trying to do in their strategy and their goals and what the people actually understand in the organisation. So in the conversations you've been having with Zenya-san or other colleagues, what are some of those people challenges that you've heard about or have seen so far?
Yeah, well, quite a lot really. The conversations have grown over time, I think, and I think it's probably linked to Zenya-san coming in and having a strategy. She issued quite recently a human rights report across all the supplier base, employee and customer base of MUFG, which was a very provocative document, actually in the accounts, published in the accounts, and it has created a conversation within the firm. So it's actually it's heightened the knowledge of sustainability as a topic. So that's one thing, but it's a bit macro. Yeah. So another thing again, Zenya-san and her team have been doing is having a number of training and education sessions with people who've volunteered, shown interest, or have been working in the areas across MUFG. So sort of a warm audience, if you like. But I don't think it's gone far enough. Yeah. I think the last conversation I had with Zenya-san was a couple of months ago, where we discussed perhaps having a deeper set of educational sessions going across, moving it from the domestic discussion actually in Japan to our very broad estate within MUFG across all of our countries. So that's where we're at the moment.
Brilliant. So it sounds as though this has been an opportunity, sort of bringing in that role, Zenya-san's role has been an opportunity to sort of start conversations, and then sort of the next phase of that would be moving into, okay, how do we really operationalize this or build it into business as usual? Yeah,
definitely. I mean, perfection would be having a sustainability centric organisation at the moment. And bringing in as part of the culture of MUFG, and we're doing a lot of work on, for example, the MUFG way, where we're trying to get people to think about what it means to work at MUFG for the individual and how that connects to MUFG's purpose, certainly post-COVID. So part of that conversation, when people are writing their MUFG ways, some of them are talking naturally about sustainability as a reason to come to work at MUFG. So there's a hook for many, and I suppose we're by no means there yet, but we'll want some strategies, frameworks, ideas to help connect some of that. I think one of the one of the main issues is, I think, we focused on the sales end of sustainability. So financial products for sustainable products. So transition finance or carbon trading or green finance, green bonds, etc. So that's been an obvious place, but actually that only touches perhaps 25% of the organisation which are in the front facing the customers. But what about the others?
It's a really good point, actually, and I think it's often where it starts, right? When companies are seeing that pressure, perhaps the way the market's moving, or sort of the demands that are being sort of coming up, whether that's regulatory or from sort of customers as well, wanting things, new products related to this. But like you say, that's the sort of tip of the iceberg, right? That's the front part, and then behind that, the rest of the organisation needs to be aligned and supporting if those things are really going to be successful.
Yeah, and I think we're quite a way off that stage. So I think that's the next. I mean, if you look at just the model of providing financial service, you've got the sales, product, trading end. Yeah. But then behind that, you've also got a very big risk and compliance and advisory group that are serving that, and obviously they are being trained in those products and are learning those pieces. And then there's the sort of controls and the operational services, tech and ops behind that. But that's only one element of sustainability. That's serving customers and clients and what they need for their products. The other side to it is what does it mean for some other people that are not actually related necessarily to the customer. It's more to their purpose and values in coming to work. What do they want to get out of working at MUFG for themselves on a daily basis? Yes. And that's where I don't think we've solved that yet.
Yeah. Because that's interesting you mentioned that point, right? Because sustainability, it's not just about the impact you're having outside the organisation on society and planet, but it's also the people in your organisation, not just the ones in sustainability roles, but the people who are showing up to work every day, right? Part of sustainability is it a diverse and inclusive workplace? Is well-being a priority? And all of these are part of sustainability, and I'm not sure how well that's understood always at this point.
I don't think at all. I don't think so there's an opportunity really to then take that current thrust and impetus and build that towards some form of sustainability framework and strategy, if you like. And you mentioned DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion, we call it. Top of, with Kamizawa-san talking about ESG, one of the key strands is diversity, equity, inclusion, and obviously we know lots to do in Japan, right? But I don't think anywhere in the world solved it. No. Heading for an inclusive workforce, that's what we want. If we can connect that to that being part of the sustainability strategy, and it can be sustainability centric, then we will have got there. But again, we're a long way off.
I think you and pretty much every other organisation we've spoken to as well. Yeah. So where does HR fit into this picture then? So, with your HR hat on now, where do you see the role, the opportunity for HR to really step in and support companies in their sustainability
work? I think certainly partnering with Zenya-san on the onboarding and understanding her strategy and her business, part of that was for her to be great and succeed. I needed to help her work out her strategy and her business first, and then where would that connect in the organisation. So that was again high level. I think with an HR, the sort of advisory hat, one of our roles is to harness the talent in the organisation, right? So we are responsible for a whole gamut of programs and learning and development. So there's an easy area where we could drop in a number of sustainability educational, depending on the person, what they do, their role. It could be quite specific actually, or it could be a general across corporate titles where people have a particular interest in something. Like in Asia we have a green network. It just makes sense for people to jump on and sort of work with each other on different programs across different countries. So I suppose we connect to the people most. I mean, everybody's job is to grow talent in the organisation, but we, in a way, the CEOs, the management look to us to bring that conversation to the table, so we can get better access to those people. We also spend a lot of time with them as advisors, business partners. So all of my team, between myself and everybody in my team, we sort of know everybody in the organisation, or we're meant to, right? So we can bring their views and thoughts to the table, just not through formal surveys, but discussions, one-to-ones. So we have a better feel of the heartbeat of the organisation. So we can bring that to Zenyasan's team and say, right, well, this is what and this is where we're missing stuff. This is and I think, last thing I'll say on this, that the surveys currently, the pulse surveys we do, which are fairly regular, the sustainability with all that it brings, if that's well-being, DEI, connecting to the community, whatever it is coming up the agenda, certainly from the more junior talents, and actually we're, like we're mostly concerned with serving their needs and their voice. So that's quite a bit there, I think.
Interesting, yes, and that's something that I think we've heard from quite a few organisations, that instead of them interviewing sort of young talent sort of at the beginning of their careers, it's almost flipping the other way around now, that the interviewees are coming in and saying, well, why should I come and work for you? What are you actually doing?
Yeah, there's a little bit of that.
Turning the tables, right?
Yeah.
And then why would they stay with you? So if you can show them that you know, there's actually sort of real positive impact going on, I guess that helps with the whole attraction and retention conversation.
Definitely. And that's okay. It's definitely, I think the sort of pandemic has sharpened their conversations about what they want and what they need, and you know, even about work-life balance, right?
Yes, very much.
And how they will work with us, not only and integrating work and life. Having that discussion and having an answer to it early on around, well, what is your strategy on that? What is your approach to us? And it's linked to how they can, what the values of the organisation are, and if we don't have a really good answer on that, then we'll lose the best talent. So it's becoming a very important question to answer right at the beginning.
Fantastic. It's good to hear. Good to hear. Okay, Angus, so any final comments, requests, suggestions for the audience here today?
Definitely. I think it's a tremendously exciting topic. Also, I think I'm not sure you can avoid it, if that's another way of thinking of it. So get involved, right? Jump in. Both if I'm talking to HR professionals or communications professionals, or maybe even to my sustainability partners, we need to have more conversations together and connect the strategies of the talent management strategies of HR and the sustainability strategies of the sustainability or ESG teams, whatever. So I would say put it on, have conversations together, and also independently put it on your agendas. And maybe there's something around using it as an opportunity to gather some of the different projects and programs we're doing under a framework of sustainability. And as I said right at the start, I think it would be good, and I suspect we're heading that way, where we have organisations which are sustainability centric, and it becomes part of the culture. And you could say, you know, it would be, I'm joining that company because it has sustainability right at its core. So if you need to get to that, then work backwards from that and think, well, what do I need to do now to put those things in place to start to build that? Because definitely the talents of tomorrow are looking for a very good answer on this, and I'm not sure many of us have that at this point.
Work in progress. Thank you very much for time and for being part of this, and for sparking it off in the first place.
No problem.